I've been with my husband for 4 years now. We married last year in October. Our entire relationship, he has known I've been studying Japanese and that I want to move to Japan to teach English. I've been working with tutors for 3 years to learn the language and was planning to start the process of getting a TEFL certificate, teach English as a foreign language. I started looking into programs I could work with for after I get this certificate and talking to him more seriously about where I specifically would like to move to. He's never been out of state before, but has talked about wanting to travel and said he would love to live in Japan. All of the sudden, he just looks at me and asks if we're going to have a long-distance relationship. I obviously asked what he meant by that, and he goes on to tell me he's afraid of planes, and he could never go to Japan because of it. That I would have to go there by myself and come back regularly to see him. I have no idea why he didn't say anything like this earlier. He knew from the start this is what I always wanted, and now he's saying he thought I was just going to teach online? That he didn't realize I actually wanted to live there? I don't know what to do. I don't feel like this is something leave him over, but this is something I've wanted to do since I was 11 years old. My parents never supported the idea, and so I had to wait until I was financially independent and stable enough to start formally learning everything. I've put a lot of my time and money into this dream. It was finally within sight, but he won't budge. He just keeps shooting it down whenever I try to come up with a way for us to move there. He says it's useless to even try. I don't know what to do. Edit to answer some questions and comments. Biggest one is that the plan never was to move to Japan permanently. We talked in depth about going there for 6 months to a year at first, depending on what is offered to me when I apply, and then coming back for a year or two before doing it again. It was not one-sided conversations. He even said it would make for great experiences for our children when we have them, and thought it would be so cool if our kids could speak Japanese. I've tried many times to get him to learn the language properly, yet he always insisted I could just translate for him. He knows very basic phrases, and I have yet to get him to learn more. I know I was vague, but I didn't think people would assume we didn't have proper conversations about it. Even during the conversation where he was telling me it's useless to look for solutions, he was saying he wished he could go. He has mentioned he doesn't like planes before, but never went in depth to what extent he doesn't like them. We did talk about taking a boat a few times while discussing getting there. The conversation always seemed like the answer was that we'll feel it out when the time comes to actually make a decision. Not him giving a solid no to either. I very much dislike boats and water in general, but I'm 100% willing to go on a boat if it means we go together. Yes, he has anger issues. I know people will say it is not my job, but I have been working with him to try to get it under control. I am so tired from working and studying, though, that I've been ignoring him when he's angry until he cools down to come talk to me rather than working through it with him lately. Many people have asked how he would even come with me and what would he do while there. We were looking specifically into a dependent visa for him. If I were to get a working visa, I should be able to sponsor him since we're married. As for work, he does freelance graphic design online. He can work anywhere. I hate my job and don't mind having to find a different one when we come back. Some people mentioned it would be social suicide for him and that I'd be removing him from all he knows. He moved to the other side of the state, away from friends and family, less than a year before we met. He doesn't talk to his family often, and we only see them once a year. In the 4 years we've been living together, he has had a friend visit maybe 3 times. Most of his friends are online, and so there would be little change for him in that aspect. I am not clueless about Japan. I have some Japanese friends online and one friend that I grew up with who has been to Japan many times. Everyone I have ever personally known who has gone to Japan has said it is absolutely worth it. 2 of my coworkers lived in Japan for several years, got married, and they and their spouses often go back to Japan. I know it's not going to be all rainbows and butterflies. Someone also mentioned something about anime. That's not what fueled my desire. I took a world languages class when I was 11, was praised for grasping the languages so well, and got super cocky. I thought I was going to be able to learn every single language, go all over the world, and be super rich just by being able to speak multiple languages. I very quickly learned languages are hard, but it didn't stop me from still wanting to learn. I self-studied a much smaller amount of languages for a few years after that, before finally deciding to focus on one at a time. My ultimate goal is to be conversational in 3 foreign languages before I croak, and I would love to be able to live in the countries of those languages for a bit as well. Japan just ended up being the one I found most interesting. Someone will probably say I don't have to defend myself, but I hate when I tell someone that I'm studying Japanese, and they just spew phrases in an anime voice at me. No disrespect to anime, it's just not the reason I want to learn the language and live in Japan. They're cartoons. I know life isn't a cartoon. It is getting hard to keep track of all the comments and questions. I'll try to go through them better and answer what I see, but I cannot guarantee I will see everything. I would really like to not give out too much information. It may be irrational, but I don't want anyone I know seeing it and possibly connecting it to me or anything like that. I plan to sit him down and try to have a much better structured conversation about it, either tonight or tomorrow. I originally wrote this post not too long after our conversation and was obviously very upset. I guess I was looking for people to share similar experiences and help me navigate through this. I hope to find out why he went from what I perceived to be excited about the whole plan to telling he's terrified of planes, and I guess travel in general, as many have pointed out, and that he'll never go. I will update when I can. Thank you to those who were kind and gave actual advice, and thank you to those who showed concern. I am still a bit angry, but maybe we can talk this through and things will work out. I also talked to my friend about it, and he said he would go to Japan with me if I don't want to go alone, so I can still go see it when I'm ready to. So I do still have plans to go, even if my husband doesn't want to. It's just a bummer. I will have to more than likely visit many times without him, rather than be able to visit and live there with him for a while. Top comment, somebody said, wait, something doesn't add up. Does he say he didn't want to get on an airplane or that he didn't want to move to Japan? Because you can get to Japan without a plane. Quite roundabout, but you can do it. Why is he talking about long distance? Seems to me like he doesn't want to move to Japan, period. Original poster replied, he won't go by boat either. You're right, he straight doesn't want to move to Japan. I just wish he was truthful about it from the beginning, because I wouldn't have gotten involved with him to this extent had I known. A commenter, sounds like you can move to Japan for a couple of years alone, or you can move to Japan for a couple of years alone after getting a divorce. Or you can not move to Japan, but I wouldn't let him win this one. He was obviously hoping you wouldn't follow through. Somebody said, my wife is a super traveler and I less so. She is a people person, I less so. You know what married people do? They compromise, they work together, they do things they may not want to do in the name of the team. If he won't work with you on this, you need to get out before you get to hard stuff. And this one is pretty major, as it is a life goal. If you give up on this, you will find it sets a standard, and you will be divorcing him at 53 when the kids go to college and going to Japan. If he can't compromise, it isn't a marriage. A commenter, babe. You've been manipulated. You've had this dream since 11. You have clearly been talking openly, studying, and planning to make this happen. And now at the 11th hour, he's claiming you change and not him. He scammed you. If he wants you that bad, then he needs to be brave and go with you. Otherwise, continue with your plans and exclude him. If he wants you, then he should support your dreams and not demand that his fear eclipse theme. Just go. Either he will follow, or you will have to file for a divorce under abandonment and married under false pretenses. Ganbat.
I, a 24-year-old man, teach boxing in my spare time, and one day a week I teach it to kids. There's a mom who I'm starting to feel like is taking advantage of these classes. She's increasingly late with picking up her kid after the session. To give some context, this is a rich woman. It's not that she's out working a job, she is a stay-at-home parent. No other kids. She told me all this because another thing she loves to do is have really long conversations with me, on top of already being late. She's been late most of March, 3 classes. I talked to her about it at the end of the month, and she apologized and said it won't happen again. It did double now. So I started timing her. The second week of April, no class the first week, she arrived 45 minutes late. Then spent maybe 20 minutes talking to me. The other day, I timed her again. She got there around the 1-hour mark. I made a point to show her my timer, and I gave her a warning that I will remove her kid from my class. She tried to derail the conversation, so I raised the timer and turned it on again. She said I was being unjustifiably rude. Exact words. I explained politely that I have other obligations and her consistent lateness throws my schedule off. She didn't want to have this conversation, stomped to the driver's side of her car. Her kid lowered his window to say thank you and bye to me. I told him bye and added, "Tell your mom to stop being late." She reported our conversation to my boss, but twisted it. She said that I threatened her kid with getting kicked out of the program. I didn't say it like that, and I didn't say it to her kid. There are other instructors. I was just implying to her that I won't have him in my group. My boss still gave me a lecture about how I don't have that power and can't make the statements I did. He went over professionalism and how I'm being too hard on this mom who could have other circumstances going on. But I'm not getting paid for the hour after this class that I spend hanging out with her kid. The kid's great, but I have things to do. For people who work with kids, what's the etiquette here? Do I give my parents grace? I told my boss I'm going to start adding up all the hours and one of them is going to have to pay me. Am I the a-hole? Relevant comments. Original poster replied on wanting to set in the boundaries and fine system for late pickups and to have the boss set the firm approach for it. See, that's how it should be. Unfortunately, I don't think my boss has any policy around it, judging from the way our conversation went. If this continues to be an issue, I'm going to push for compensation, since his approach currently has me taking responsibility for it. I'll send an email to him about clarifying, so I have some kind of a written response. Original poster replied on the policy and the front desk staff to deal with the phone calls to parents for pickups. There is no front desk. I didn't want to immediately escalate to Child Protective Services and cops before making some attempts with the mom. The lack of policy is definitely an issue that I am now going to push to address, seek further info about. Original poster replied on getting paid for his time of the hours he did outside his duties. I added them up, sent it to him and everything. He told me he will only pay me moving forward. I should let it go and then make a point to remind myself that I volunteered for this job knowing it was new and there would be hiccups. Update. I appreciate the advice I got on the post I made. I learned a lot from you. I took various notes from the people who gave me tips here. I wrote a detailed email to my boss and CC'd other people who run this program, including co-instructors. I did this for transparency, accountability, and to put pressure on my boss to provide a policy around the issue instead of him dealing with us all individually, case by case. My boss didn't respond to the email. Instead, he called me in to see him. I kind of had a feeling he'd do that. He asked me why I sent the email CCing everyone and was clearly not happy about my approach. He kept trying to minimize the situation and make me feel that I am in the wrong. He told me that I'm being greedy, that my attitude about one parent being late is exaggerated and I'm looking for problems. I should essentially just wait around after hours if I need to sometimes, unpaid, because it's a program for kids. I should do this with some heart and do it for the kids. I had to turn my face to hide the fact that I wanted to laugh at that moment, but mostly I was frustrated. Having proper policies in place not only protects the staff, it protects the kids, not to mention his damn business. After I made my perspective clear, in a mostly professional manner, he came around a little. Unfortunately, he flat out told me he will not back pay me for the time that I've logged waiting for this mom, but he will implement a late policy moving forward. He's followed through on that. He tried to throw in other useless incentives for me. I didn't accept them. That mom wasn't late this week. She did try to catch my eye when she picked her son up and I ignored her. She ended up getting out of her car and asked me if I saw her waving. I kept ignoring her. She wore me down because she kept following me around while I locked up. I informed her why she's getting the silent treatment. She apologized and also tried to write me a check on the spot. I didn't take the money. I told her honestly, I might quit instead. I am sharing this because the woman clearly lives in her own world. Here, just take my money and stop being mad at me. I was so furious. It took everything in me to keep the words that I said to her to a minimum. I am on the fence about just letting this go. Maybe the program will get smoother with time. It's not a lot of money worth fighting over. I am so disappointed in my boss. I've known him for a long time as a mentor/friend. Being his employee has been something else. The program itself is very new and disorganized. Due to differences of opinion about how it's run, I doubt I will stay with it. This is my first time working a job that involves kids. My actual profession is unrelated to boxing. This was mostly something I picked up spontaneously because I saw the merit in it and I wanted to do my part to help. I admit I could use the extra money too. I don't mean to be greedy or stingy, but I live in an insanely expensive city and I take care of someone with expensive medical bills. I haven't proofread this, but it looks longer than I wanted it to be. I'm sorry, I'm tired. Relevant comments. Original poster replied on being frustrated with his boss and the situation. I wouldn't say I'm angry about the situation. I think I am mostly frustrated with my boss's approach in dealing with issues. It's hard to convey all of it in writing, but he's extremely stubborn and hard-headed. He takes unnecessary offense to constructive feedback and then holds grudges. Getting him to do anything is always more difficult than it needs to be. He will try to bulldoze you. There's always friction, no matter what you suggest. It shouldn't have to be like that. I think I'm coming to terms with the realization that he's a great friend and mentor, but a terrible person to collaborate or do business with. I wish he would have taken what I said more seriously instead of focusing so much on this being an isolated issue when it could easily happen again with another parent. Even though he's implemented the new policies, he's acting as if he did me a favor. The person I was angry at is the mom because of the way she talked to me and threw money at me. There was no understanding. She was so quick to report me to my boss and twist my words last week, and this week, she's at pickup trying to flag me to chat like it never happened. The entitlement of this woman. She can't stand being ignored. And when I reminded her what she did, she acted as if it was just a money problem. Who cares about the appointments I got late for and the trouble she caused me? She can write me a check right now and order me to stop being mad at her. It definitely rubbed me the wrong way. I absolutely hear you though. Thank you. Somebody said, you'd make the right call to cut your losses. See this as a learning opportunity for what is not only intolerable, but most likely illegal. I can't think of any state where you can be expected to continue working without pay. I'd go as far as to suggest reporting the hours you were unpaid to the labor board in your state if you are from the States. You are being taken advantage of here, but you know that. Do what's best for you. I'm not only suggesting making the report so you get paid, but also to put this business on notice, because you probably aren't the only person they will try to exploit this way, especially after you've left. And having that record is important to show a pattern of behavior on the business owner's part. Another comment, report him to the depth of labor at the federal level. You cannot force someone to stay on the job off the clock. If they did that, you will get back pay. Somebody said, I'm so sorry this is happening to you. You're not the a-hole. You tried to level with your boss and get him to understand. I'm guessing he doesn't want any backlash because of business. I wish there weren't people out there that take advantage of kindness. Last update 12 days later. I got other instructors to get on my boss's case with me. I also informed him I have to quit the kids class, and I will quit the training I do with adults too. Leave the gym and our friendship if he doesn't hear me out respectfully. The reason I wanted to avoid reporting my boss is because I have a relationship with him and nearly everyone at this gym going back almost 10 years. I didn't want to resort to making a report without exploring every other option first. My boss's cave. I'll get paid for the extra hours I logged on the next paycheck. Moving forward, I will no longer teach the kids, because although we have a policy and late pickup fee in place, as it stands right now, instructors are still responsible to stay back until the last kid leaves, and my boss doesn't want to negotiate on that. I can't stay behind after classes. I have other obligations the same day as the class I teach. It's unfortunate because this one parent is the only one currently abusing the system because she can afford to. That kid's mom was late this week again, showed her my timer. I also told her I've quit. She asked me if the late warnings reset when a new instructor takes over. They don't. She then tried to hire me out from under my boss as her kid's private instructor. I said no, but I might reconsider if she ever wants lessons. I would love to give that woman hell. Alright, that's the end of that. I feel bad I couldn't stick it out with this kid's program, but it's too disorganized for me right now. Relevant comment. Somebody said, sounds like she has zero respect for anyone else's time. Sure, she doesn't love money, but my time is money, and I value my time a lot more than her money. Good call, not working for her. Who knows what kind of hell she would put you through. People with money know that money talks, and most will take it. When you don't out of principle, they just can't understand it. Original poster replied, people like her ruin it for other parents, and my boss refuses to implement a condition like X amount of lates will result in your kid being dropped from the class. Final update. Hey, so it's been a long time. I deleted the original posts off my page hoping I would stop getting messages about it. But now I have this update. Is it allowed? I don't remember the etiquette here. I found that my post is still on Reddit. Someone sent messages to me. Catch up here. The short of it is you guys were right. This woman had a crush on me or some kind of interest in the least, and I was too angry at her, the situation to notice. We're seeing each other now. I won't get your hopes up because it's probably just temporary. Longer story. Towards the end of last year, she approached me. She said she was separating from her husband and hinted that the marriage was abusive. She said her reason for getting in touch with me was to take me up on my offer about teaching her how to box. I told her I was only offering, back then, so I could make her suffer. The thing is, I don't think joining a combat sport immediately as a means to process abuse is always the best form of action. I get why it's empowering, but if you're not doing therapy or something alongside it, it might frame things for you in an unhealthy way. So I think you need both. That's just my personal opinion. I felt ill-equipped to be the starting point of her healing or whatever, even though she was reaching out to me so sincerely. So I redirected her to someone else. She started going to those classes I connected her with and occasionally texted me about them. Straightforward texts, questions, asking me my opinion, etc. We'd have short exchanges, a few texts back and forth with no pattern and a lot of gaps in between. About a week ago, I ran into her in person, and she convinced me to have coffee with her, and I don't know how to explain it. There is some kind of intensity between us, and we decided to see where it leads. It's not serious. Given how many people thought something was there and how oblivious I was to it, I felt this might be worth sharing. I didn't know her age back then, but I found out she's 32, I'm 25, I know. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, dude, don't do this. Rebound relationship off of a failed marriage that possibly allegedly may have been abusive? And she's a single mom, and the age gap, come on. Original poster replied, I get it, but I'm not trying to be in a relationship, and that's clear between us. Commenter 2, sure you're not. Wait until she shows you 2 pink lines. You're a fool. Plus, it's unprofessional of you to be involved with her. Original poster replied, I can't argue about me being a fool, but I disagree about it being unprofessional. To clarify, I don't teach the kid. I dropped that mess of a class early last year, and I don't teach her either. I declined her offer when she first reached out to me and redirected her to someone else who I have no affiliation with.